Sorry, going live on my phone, but a bit of breaking news coming out of Ibrox, and that's with regard to Steven Gerrard. Earlier on today, we reported to you that Danny Rohl talks had been sort of ongoing as such. But we do have some breaking news, and that is that he will not, Steven Gerrard will not be returning back to the football club. Again, talks have sort of broken down apparently over a number of different things. But essentially, Steven Gerrard will not be coming back to the football club. Now, this is going to, of course, cause a bit of heartbreak to a lot of fans, including myself. We're all getting ourselves hyped up for a Steven Gerrard return. But again, it's the way the cookie crumbles right now, and it looks as though he is not going to be on his way. Steven Gerrard is not coming back to Rangers. I'm interested to see your thoughts and reaction, but it's now broke here on Sky News as well. Breaking news, Steven Gerrard will not return as Rangers head coach after he removed himself from the process to become Russell Martin's successor, Sky Sports understands. Ben Jacobs also added a little bit more onto this and stated that Steven Gerrard has decided to withdraw from contention for the Rangers role. Gerrard has decided the timing wasn't quite right to return and has now removed himself from the process. Conversations were apparently positive and a full agreement was almost reached. However, they understand that both sides have agreed to leave the door open for the future. So Stevie G, of course, not going to be returning back to Ibrox. Now, again, this looks like Danny Rohl will likely be the new manager. That's just the way it's going to look right now. I just feel that after positive talks, people are not going to be happy in the Rangers fan base. Let's be perfectly honest here. But apparently with positive talks today with Danny Rohl, he will likely be the new Rangers manager. So yeah, Steven Gerrard is off. Man, fucking shit, isn't it? It really is shit. We were so close to sort of galvanizing ourselves as a fan base. But it's off. As a fan base, I'm pretty upset. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty damn upset. Yeah, we were so close to all being sort of galvanized as a group. I felt that this would have been the moment for us to go back. It was the obvious option for us all to come together as a fan base. And I really did think Gerrard would have been the guy to take us back to the top. But now we're going to be looking elsewhere. And it does look as though we're going to probably be going for Danny Rohl. He's the other guy that's been in contention for the job. And a lot of fans, I covered my live stream earlier on today. I reported to you that Sky Sports provided a worrying update that he was even being considered as the manager, that we were flirting with other people, we were looking at and assessing our options elsewhere, and now we find ourselves with no Steven Gerrard. Now, again, for those of you just tuning in, it does look as though it was a number of reasons, but mainly down to Steven Gerrard himself. Gerrard decided that timing wasn't quite right to return, and now removed himself. He said that conversations were positive, and a full agreement was almost reached. It was almost reached. However, both sides have agreed to leave the door open for the future. No! I'm raging. Deep down, I'm raging. I don't know how we're going to pick this fan base up after this. For God's sake. So timing essentially now. And he did not want to continue with the recruitment process. It's a sore one. It really is a sore one. Let's be perfectly honest there, guys. It is a sore one. So look, it's going to be Danny Rohl then, pretty much. It will likely be Danny Rohl. Frank Lampard, maybe. Let's have a look at Frank Lampard. Shit. So who is it? Danny Rohl definitely looks like the front runner. So it looks like those betting companies were correct earlier on. We've seen those sort of screenshots with regard to the betting companies, and it looked as though it was going to be, you know, it was bets almost like 1 to 100 or something like that for Danny Rohl. So they must have knew something a bit earlier on, but this news just came out now. And it's him. Stevie's not going to be there. So it looks like Danny Rohl might be the next one. Unless we're going to be looking at other candidates. But I can go back to that Sky Sports report, as we said earlier on. Sorry, I haven't got my the laptop. Obviously, my laptop's currently doing something else in terms of streaming. But the initial post that we had about 5 hours ago was that Rangers are holding further talks with various candidates this weekend as they search for Russell Martin's replacement. Discussions with Steven Gerrard progressed well over the past 2 days, while Danny Rohl also impressed and remains in the race for the job. So that was the latest update before we had this one. So Danny Rohl might be the guy that we're going to be getting. And it looks as though fans aren't going to be happy. Because if you had a look at the information we were seeing on social media today, fans weren't happy with the sort of maybe getting Danny Rohl. No one was happy about getting Danny Rohl in. People comparing him to Russell Martin, which I did say at the time is a little bit lazy. I do think Danny Rohl is a bit more, he's not as shrewd as Russell Martin. He's a guy who actually adapts, by the way. He's not that bad. But yeah, you're seeing, I mean, look, listen, it's a shame. It's a shame from our perspective, because I think this is a real blow to the fan base. Just in a way of that everybody literally had Steven Gerrard as the guy that they wanted to come back to the football club. So, yeah, it's a sore one. I mean, we're probably going to have to do another live stream later to update you on what happens in terms of the main candidate. But I just wanted to come live and, of course, break the news to you. And, of course, see where we sit. But a lot of it is, of course, being dominated on social media right now with regard to Stevie. And a lot of fans aren't happy, and you can understand. And I'm looking in the live chat where people are on their standpoint with regard to him, and you're feeling, and you're seeing mixed signals. I'm seeing a lot of people that are pretty gutted with it all, and rightfully so. We all are going to be gutted. But yeah, give it to Barry until we find the right person. Even as an Everton and Jazz fan, I really wanted Stevie as the manager. He went unbeaten in the first campaign. Facts. So, guys, do let me know down there in the live chat whilst we are who you want. Is Danny Rohl the guy that you want? I mean, I'm seeing lots of comments saying that they don't want Danny Rohl in. I'm seeing a lot of gutted live chat comments. But come on, let's not get too sentimental here, ladies and gentlemen. Barry had a shot. I don't think Barry's the right man for us in my personal opinion. I think we need to be looking for a manager. I'm seeing Muscat claims. Why? What's happening with Muscat? Why can't Muscat be in the picture? What a day, man. I knew something was fishy off, by the way. I knew something was a little bit fishy earlier on today. When we spoke about it, with the update with Danny Rohl just being added in there, with Danny Rohl just being put into the equation 5 hours ago, I felt something was a little bit off. I felt something stunk a little bit. I felt I felt, yeah, it was a little bit weird. It was a little bit weird, and obviously it completely makes sense now on where we're at. But troops, if you haven't already, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get involved, because we're going to keep you up to date with all the breaking news that comes in this managerial hunt. But yeah. I think it's going to be Danny Rohl, guys. I think it's going to be Danny Rohl. Just... yeah. Well, I mean, look. Come on, let's not kid ourselves on. We all don't know Danny Rohl that well. You know, he's done a decent job. He's a young manager. But still, it is a kick in the gut, isn't it? Punch in the gut. When you're getting hyped up with Stevie G. Seen some Sheffield Wednesday fans actually rate Rohl, and I'm willing to give him a chance. My point is, guys, with Danny Rohl, you can't... let's not be lazy. Stop comparing him to Russell Martin. That's unfair. He's not like Russell Martin. Russell Martin doesn't change philosophy. The one thing that I read about Danny Rohl is that he adapts to his opposition. So already, yes, they're not even in the same sort of breath. I think people are just comparing him because he's a young manager that, you know, worked with sort of relegation fodder teams. But he did an incredibly good job. And people talking about win rates about him. Now, again, I'm not going to say I'm clued up with Danny Rohl the most, because I'm not. I just read a bit. But I just don't like this lazy comparison stating that he's the same as Russell Martin. They're completely different in ways. Yes, they're attacking mentality managers. But Danny Rohl can be pragmatic at times. He can also be very... he can adapt and change his philosophy and change his teams, and it's suiting on whatever happens. And sometimes things can be a blessing in disguise. But we'll see. Look, if it's Danny Rohl, we can't have the same attitude as we had with Russell Martin. It's just unfair that Stevie's decided not to come. It's not like the board have not chose. I think they've done everything they can to get him in. But if it's going to be Danny Rohl, guys, we can't give him a toxic entrance, you know. If you're looking at Sheffield Wednesday, you're looking at the situation. Yes, his record at Sheffield Wednesday doesn't look great on paper. If you look at it, 89 games, 34 wins, 36 losses, and a win percentage of 38.2%. You're absolutely right. You get it. I look at that, and that's fair. But you've got to look at it into context. When Danny Rohl came into the job at Sheffield Wednesday, they were relegation fodder in the Championship. And a year later, he had them in 12th. And he didn't get sacked. He left because of the financial reasons and whatnot, and went on to sort of pastors new. They were battling with financial problems. But he completely changed the club into a dead cert going down to a club that stayed into the Championship. Now, I can see people's opinions saying, well, we don't want a manager that's fucking not used to winning. And I get that completely. I completely understand it. But also at the same time, he worked at Bayern Munich. He's an assistant at Bayern Munich, I believe. He did really well with Bayern, obviously a team that do win. And he's a very much, he's been monitored by a lot of Bundesliga clubs. He's a very, highly regarded coach and manager up in the Bundesliga. So one thing that I would say about him, right, is Danny Rohl will be one of those coaches that's one job away from potentially being the next big thing. You're looking at these managers now in the Premier League and everyone's going, wow, they're amazing. Whether it be sort of Areola, whether it be the boy at Brighton, these sorts of managers where you never heard of them. Don't kid me on that you never heard of them a couple of years ago. Xabi Alonso's turned into a bit of a winner. You never heard of them. Sometimes you've got to give them a chance. Steven Gerrard, his first job was at Rangers. So you never know what could happen. And it could go one or two ways. It could be a disaster and we're not in a position where we can take risks. But it could be one of those ones where, you've actually got one of the great young managers at your club. All of a sudden he transforms it and then he's gone. But I understand that sort of side of the argument. But my only point is, don't worry, I'm not on the payroll of Danny Rohl, for God's sake, but I'm just trying to soften the blow a little bit and try and say, just don't compare him to Russell Martin, because they ain't the same. They're not the same people at all. Russell Martin was a wank before he came in. We knew what Russell Martin was. He was a failure, stinking failure. Danny Rohl's not the same. And of course he adapts. He's not philosophy, basis, my philosophy or the highway, you know, that's it. So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gutted. And after a sleep, I'll be ready to go again and we can talk about things. I keep seeing 38.2%. I get it. I really do get it. But context is always needed in jobs, boys. It is always needed. If you're looking at Brendan Rodgers at Leicester, he got the team relegated, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Ange Postecoglou, you know, he fucking worst Spurs team in all of history, pretty much. 17th, got them nearly relegated. If the bottom three weren't that bad in the Premier League, he would have got Tottenham relegated. So I think sometimes comparing it can be thing, but I understand everyone's frustration. Don't get me wrong, I'm not buzzing with this whatsoever. I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. I wanted Stevie back more than anybody, or just as much as everybody else in this chat did. But he's not. But I think we should also be assessing other options. I don't think Danny Rohl should just be the one we hang our hat on. People making shouts about Derek McInnes. And you know what? I said on the other live stream the other day that I would actually be in favour of Derek McInnes. Like, I actually like Derek McInnes and I actually like what he's all about. And I think he's done good with a Scottish team. Shit, my fucking things fell down. Right, that's probably a sign for me to get off. But I'll put my my thing here for a second. But yeah, with Derek McInnes, I would be against it. I wouldn't be against Derek McInnes, but I suppose we've got to see what happens in due course. And I think he's came out and said that he's staying at Hearts, but that was probably because he wasn't even in the race. So I don't think he's a dead cert, really, to be perfectly honest with you, with regard to Derek. But yeah, the jury's still out, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go into the live chat quickly, troops, and see what people are saying. Just give me a moment. I'll put this down here. My freaking gimbal fell off, by the way. My gimbal fell down. Falling all over the place. Let's try it like that. That look better? Yeah, whatever. That's cool. Pay him heavy wage, Dan, and he will come. Exactly. I mean, we can pay his wages we can, you know, quadruple his wages. Derek McInnes, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm seeing shouts for Dick Campbell. Fuck off, man. You guys are trolling. Dick Campbell. Hey, everything happens for a reason, troops. Everything happens for a reason. Don't talk shite, people are saying. People are saying, green shirt, you posh brack. It's a polo sport jersey, mate. Rafa or Muscat only? Fair. I don't know what to say. I'm probably going to come back later, live a bit later, I think. Once the sort of dust settles a little bit, but I'm gutted. I really am. I was really feeling Stevie coming back. But I suppose it is what it is, isn't it? Fuck. People saying, I'm saying shambles from us, but I don't think we fumbled it. I think Stevie just chose that it wasn't the right time. But he must have thought. There must have been something as to why he didn't think it was the right time. Why would he entertain talks if it wasn't the right time? Do you know what I mean? Why would he even entertain talks in the first place if he didn't think it was the right time? So sometimes I am thinking maybe has something he's seen and looked under the sort of bonnet and went, nah, fuck that. Ringo says it was obviously on our end. Have a Pinot Grigio, you bellend. I'm sober now, man. Been sober for a little while. Craigie boy says, sounds like the missus told him not to do it. Well, look, he's settled in Bahrain. I mean, look, I know there's Glasgow's a beautiful place in the world, but you know, sometimes when you're the son and you're settled on your tax-free cash, you're probably thinking, you know what? Do I really want to go back just now? I don't know. Snus in your gob. Yeah, man. I like a bit of snus. It's nice. It's good. It's good. Right, troops, that's all I've really got for you for now. But we'll be back live probably a bit later when we get some more information with regard to the manager hunt. But of course the breaking news is that Steven Gerrard won't be coming back. So do let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. Hit like, hit subscribe and all that jazz. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Peace.